Hey, what's happening? Before we jump into the show, I wanted to see if you had any music on a hard drive. You have a band, you have a project, and you want to self-release your own music. Well, there's an easy way to do it. You can go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate and go get your music up on all the streamers. You keep 100% of your royalties, and you can get 30% off by using this code. It's a great, easy way to get your music up on the streamers and share it with your fans, your friends, your family, your mom, your dog, everybody. Everyone wants to hear it. But go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate, HYPHENATE, and send me the link. I want to hear it too. Send your mom the link. Send your dog the link. They all want to hear it too. We'd like to thank our sponsor, iZotope, the absolute leaders in intuitively designed plugins for audio restoration, mixing, and mastering. At iZotope.com, you'll find a plethora of tools and suites that will enhance your audio production, whether it's voice, video, podcast, or a full production recording session. Check out the industry-standard audio repair tool, RX11, or the multi-tool mixer plugin, Neutron 5, or the powerful Ozone 11 mastering suite, plus tons more. Go to iZotope.com and use the code FRET10 at checkout for 10% off. That's FRET10 to get 10% off at checkout. And again, the website is iZotope.com, IZOTOPE.com. Welcome to Hyphenate Halftime. This is our show for Monday, November 3rd, 2025. I hope everybody survived their spookiest month ever on record. With me, as always, the spookiest man that I know, Mr. Aaron Farley. How do you do today, sir?
Whoa. Actually, November is when I live as a Mr. Ed.
Oh, Wilbur.
Oh, hello. I'm scared.
It's even better.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we have a election, this Prop 50 election. That's probably the scariest thing we have coming up.
God.
Right? Is that now?
I know.
Yeah.
I got to send mine in tomorrow.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't forget. This is our one chance to do something good in the world.
Yeah.
Last week we had on Dave Markey. Had you seen 1991, the year punk broke? That was really my
I have
way into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
I have, but not in a long time. And so I went back and watched some clips of that, on YouTube and stuff. And then I was like, God, I got to watch this movie again. It's so good. I mean, I feel like the backstage parts are just the best when everybody's just hanging out. And
I didn't know at the time that they were just riffing on Truth or Dare, the Madonna behind the scenes tour video. I hadn't seen Truth or Dare.
I still didn't know that.
Okay, yeah. So I think all the stuff with Kim and Jay Mascis, and were taken from the Truth or Dare,
oh my God,
tour doc. And then when Kurt comes in, he does it almost verbatim, where they throw the juice all around everywhere, or either throws a bottle of wine or champagne or something. It's it's exactly the scene when Kevin Costner comes backstage to visit Madonna. And he says, "Hey, oh, it was really, really neat." And then Madonna looks at the thing gag me neat. What do you mean it's neat? And Kim does the whole thing where it's she's Madonna and Kurt Cobain.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, the Truth or Dare. I think at the time it seemed so provocative, right? I mean, everything Madonna did, she had the sex book and everything.
Yeah,
it was definitely too young for all that. But I think I finally watched it. And it's funny how much of all that behind the scenes or backstage stuff was taken from it. But there's a lot of other just them being goofballs too.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was, I don't know. Yeah. That's weird. It's weird to think of. It's weird to think that, that punk or whatever, all these bands that kind of came from underground. And I guess that idea of this is the year punk broke was kind of an inside joke. It was just a joke, right? So it's funny that that's even the part of the title of the movie and everything, that everything was kind of an inside joke. Smells Like Teen Spirit was an inside joke. It was, all of those things were oh, whatever, the major labels, blah, blah, blah. I feel like it was kind of I mean, it was kind of that first time where when bands were not into it. We're like, I guess this is what we're doing now, but whatever. I mean, we'll go to a major label, but whatever. Like there wasn't a time before this that was the attitude. I don't feel
It was,
like,
yeah. Well, it definitely was. It seemed like a
right?
watershed kind of moment. You know what I mean? Those 80s into the 90s, where
Because even
things
the
changed. It wasn't the status quo wasn't the thing, but it all just kind of conformed to the same type of pastiches. You know what I mean? All these band, like a band like Nirvana sold a lot of records. You know what I mean? Or I feel like that's not even an option.
totally.
Obviously there's no way to sell records. Now. So.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, no, it's very different. It was a different story, but it was also sold to us as like the Gen X story, right? This was
yeah.
how you just, the brattier you are and the more you don't care, the cooler you were, so this was like the ultimate whatever, I don't care, but we're making a movie, we're on tour in Europe, we're headlining festivals,
Yeah.
but I don't care.
but it was like even that thing that did you get that like I sent you that Chris
Oh yeah, I was
thing?
just watching the clip. Yeah.
And where he was just like it was that like that when he was like, yeah, Kurt was just like so ambitious. It's like I just remember him being ambitious. But like ambitious could mean anything, right? Like we all know people that are very ambitious. But that could be like ambitious to be the noise artist, for like not just ambitious for like I want 1 million people to listen to my record, but like I'm going to go on tour for the rest of my life as the most underground person that you've ever met, but I'm going to stay there. And that all of those things take like more than skill, more than even relationships or anything. It's like the ambition has to be at 100% all the time.
Right. Oh yeah.
And I feel
we
like,
talked about, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that was even like as goofy and as dumb and as like, whatever, this is stupid. But like, we have to do it. And like, also it's funny. I mean, I remember doing that and just being like, this is crazy that I'm in Europe right now doing something for work. Like, it's fucking stupid.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, how did I get here? Like, I'm like walking around Italy for a photo shoot for 3 days. And like, I'm like, what? This is, definitely not taking it as seriously as I should have at times. But feeling that feeling, but also having, whether it's luck, whether it's talent, whether it's whatever, that a band like Nirvana and Sonic Youth and like all the parts that come together are also very marketable. And then you have the ambition and the laissez-faire, like whatever, that makes it even cooler.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of was, I mean, I guess there were people before that. It was like Lou Reed was very much like that. And that like that late 70s, early 80s kind of punk / art.
Sure. Yeah. The New York
art side,
the New
of
York
punk,
sort of new wave
of the like
of
whatever.
It all. Yeah. Television, Blondie, when you're Talking Heads, these sort of bands went from the underground. It does crossover sort of creative commercial sort of way. The Ramones, were signed to Sire, major label thing. They put out these, hugely influential punk things, but it was all happening in a major way. So I mean, it wasn't unheard of for bands,
but it was definitely
but I think for that point in post, the glam metal R&B pop sort of world, but it was like Michael Jackson was like number one when Nevermind came out. You know what I mean? It was this,
and they knocked him off the top.
Yeah.
Right?
So just whatever culturally Michael Jackson represented, for that to be like, okay, well, there's something different now. That's, at that level, it's absurd. Absolutely.
And I remember how many, like, it's funny that you mentioned the Madonna thing, because the main thing that I remember about Nirvana, the fact that even just thinking about it time-wise, that it really was only like a year and a half or 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, right. Yeah.
Right. Like between the mid 91, whenever Nevermind came out, And then when he died was like
94.
93 or early 94.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was a freshman in college, and that was like, it's like 2.5 years, 3 years maybe. And that and the main thing that I remember was when during one of those like MTV movie music awards, something, that him and Courtney Love were like fighting with Axl Rose.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember this?
Of course. Yeah. I remember watching it. Yeah.
Because Axl Rose wanted to like wear,
92.
like he was,
yeah,
and he was on tour like wearing a Nirvana baseball cap, like on stage and all this stuff. And they're like, fuck Axl Rose, man, what an idiot. And it was like, oh wow, this is like a real, they're like fighting. This is great.
Yeah.
This is like the big turning point. It's not like necessarily like someone like Sebastian Bach or like someone that was from some glammy, like people liked Axl, like Guns N' Roses was a heavy, like was a band that a lot of people liked, right? Like the metal kids were like, yeah, Guns N' Roses is pretty cool. And then the glam people were like, yeah, Guns N' Roses is like kind of glam too. They were like that band. And for Nirvana to be like, yeah.
Well, they had the same record label. They were both out on Geffen. I mean, Appetite for Destruction came out in 89.
Right.
And it didn't really blow up till 90. You know, that record, it was kind of a flop for the first year, or at least, or wasn't.
And that was only a year before.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
You know, so it's all kind of contemporary.
Crazy.
Yeah, the story that it was, you know, they've said in interviews and things I've read or seen videos of, it's where, you know, it's, I think Axl told Kurt to tell Courtney, like, tell your bitch to shut up or shut your bitch up or something. And then Kurt's like, shut up, bitch. You know, like kind of messing with back with him. Like, what the fuck is, who talks like this? This is insane.
Wow.
And then, then Dave gets on the thing afterward, after they destroy the set, like, hi, Axl. Hi, Axl.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, it's all amazing. But I mean, but it was interesting. But you bring up, you know, that the awards show, and I think I mentioned it on the interview with Dave Markey that Bill Bartell had given Kurt his Daniel Johnson shirt that he wore at the MTV Awards. And then, but then Dave also got very defensive in that he said, well, he's like, well, I gave Kurt a shirt too, like the Punk is Dead, like punk duck thing that he wore on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine for the photo shoot, you know, thing. So
I love it.
So there was some infighting on you know, who could give Kurt, or not infighting. I don't know. I'm sure it was all fun, but you know what I mean. But that kind of feeling. But the Bill Bartell of it all. I mean, I know you haven't seen the film. It's not out yet. I kind of jumped the gun on it, but I was just so excited that Dave was, you know, making this thing, and it looked really interesting. I follow him on the socials and figured it'd be good to at least get out and talk about it, kind of raise awareness. I know he had a Kickstarter going too. Just to help finish the film. But had you heard of Bill Bartell or seen any pictures of him? Did you look at that at all? Or
so a funny thing.
Oh, good. I'm glad we got funny things.
When did he die?
I don't have the timeline. It seems like within the last.
But it wasn't
5 years.
that long ago, right? It was recently. Yeah. Okay, so. I listened to the whole interview. It was so good. And then I looked up a little bit of like,
the Secret Lives of Bill Bartell, like Instagram is great. It's got tons of stuff in there and you can get a sense of him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I watched the trailer, whatever he had up for the trailer. And then I was like, wait, I met this guy.
Bill Bartell? Oh, no way. What's your,
but I couldn't. So that was my first inkling. I was like, I met this guy. And then I was like, wait, I can't quite remember if I met him or if I just missed like a conversation that he was in with someone that I knew and they told me the story. The story that I remember is that it was at 6th Street Warehouse.
Oh, okay.
And it was like after or during a show or something. It was after a show. And from what I remember, because I'm like, wait, I kind of have a visual of this, but I can't remember if it's just like I made up the visual in my mind. But that a couple friends of mine were talking and they were like, this guy's crazy. He's like a cop. But he's going like at punk shows. He was in this punk band, and then But see, I had to have been there right at the end of it because I remembered the mustache too, and I don't feel like that would have been something that my friends would have been like, and he had this great mustache,
You would
like
have, yeah.
you're
You had
like
a
for
visual.
visual. So I
Well,
feel
it's like
like
if
I
you
walked
walk up
in
to
like
friends and they're finishing a conversation with
right
someone
at the
else.
end of a
Yeah,
conversation. But they were like, he's telling us this crazy story of just tonight he was like watched somebody get shot
Jesus.
or something. It was something crazy like that,
Yeah.
right? Like, and he's at this show, or it was like a day ago or something, and he was like in a police car. Now he's at this punk show and he's wasted and he's doing this and this and this, and he's like, and I was like, what? This doesn't seem real. This guy's got to be full of shit. I never knew his name or anything, but then when I was listening to the interview, right at the end of the interview, that whole memory just popped into my head, and I went, "Oh my god, it has to be the same guy."
What was the show?
Because this
at the
guy was
warehouse?
like,
do you remember?
"Oh my god, I don't know." I used to go to every show at that
Okay.
place. I don't know. It could have been the Melvins. It could have been
That could have been it. Yeah.
anything. I mean, they had shows there every week, right, for like a couple of years. But I'm like, it has to be the guy, because it was like I just remember the story of like punk band, cop, and then maybe he was even smoking weed. It was
Just
weird
felt crazy.
enough to be like, there's too many things. This guy's got to be full of shit. There's no
one
way.
person is this interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I was listening to that story, I'm like, oh my god, this has to be the same guy. It was a weird enough situation that even if I'm like remembering it from someone else's story, which I don't know why they would have been telling me that story. I had to have been there. Anyway.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But it was something that I walked up on, and it wasn't like I was in it for a while. They were like, "This guy's crazy. He just told us that he just saw someone get shot," and he's like, or something of the
Wild.
I don't want to implicate
Sure,
anybody
but
in
something
any,
happened.
like, wait,
Well,
what year was that?
Well, he was a Beaumont police officer, which is now
and then
your
that's
neck of the woods.
Totally. And it made me go like, wait, we have because we have a cop that's on duty all the time at the school.
You'll have to ask if
that's there every day.
You Bill.
And I'm like, oh wow, okay. Do I want to ask?
Yeah, probably can't.
They're
like, how do you know?
Why are you asking? Yeah. Why don't you come into the station?
Yeah, we're gonna need you to fill out some forms.
We've been hearing about this Bill Bartell guy. He did not work here.
Right. You never know.
But
right?
he was impersonating a police officer for 20 years, and we've been trying to get information. But yeah, that was what the other thing I was going to say. It's crazy that he was at the Beaumont PD, and then, but then also that all of his, like the places that he was at were out in Riverside, and yeah, all that whole area where I'm kind
there's
of
a whole kind of punk scene there too. I think we hit on it. I was in the film. It felt exactly like that film Suburbia. Did you ever see that? The Penelope Spheres film that was after Decline 1. And it had Flea in it, and it's just all these kind of punks. It just the way they were talking about this place there, I was like, oh, this feels like the same thing. Those kind of 80s punk houses there, where there's like this.
Was that the one?
No parents.
Was that the movie where? The actor that ended up playing Shaggy in the.
No, that's SLC Punk.
Oh,
that's
SLC
very, very
Punk,
different.
right.
That's like a 90s thing. Like the Suburbia was an 80s film. It almost feels like a documentary. It was the same director that did that did Decline of Western Civilization, and the film. And then she did kind of like a narrative sort of fictional film with more of like a story to it that wasn't so documentary, but basically set in that same sort of world. And it's just very bleak and very dark.
Yeah. And it was a lot of the same kids, right? Like it was like real.
I don't know if they're. I think it was a mix of real punks and like maybe semi actors, untrained actors, like Flea's in it. It was like one of his early like acting roles. But no, I think they had like some amateur or just new young actors in it too. But
I love the fact that LA musicians all like become actors at some point,
or have
like even you and Dean.
Right? You have an opportunity at some point. Someone's making a movie. It's about something.
You got nothing to do during the day, right? Come over and be in my film.
Just say some dumb stuff. I'll shoot it.
But oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait for this movie. It sounds amazing.
Yeah. So I had seen, my brother, when I inherited records from my brother's collection, he had White Flag 7 inches and 12 inches and stuff. So he had
Wow.
those. And I remember seeing his picture places, because again, like the mustache kind of stands out, but I didn't really have a context for him or what exactly, it was all about. But you get the sense, there's like, okay, there's this person behind the scenes, but it really starts to like, it's kind of that mystery sort of man thing. But the sense I got even before watching the film was like, I didn't know how entrenched he was. But even as I came out, like, well, it's like, this sounds like Heavy Metal Parking Lot, he's like, he's the guy that did that. It's this Zelig kind of thing of like the 90s underground, would come underground into then the alternative above ground world. So much of the lore or the shtick, or just, I think that's what was always fun too about learning about music and musicians and stuff, is you get the like, oh, well, I'm really into this band Shonen Knife from Japan. And you're like, wow, you guys are so cultured and know about cool things. Or Os Mutantes. I remember this was a big kind of like Brazilian thing happening, but I wouldn't have imagined that it was all coming from the same source, from one music obsessive, closeted police officer that lived in the desert that was that followed Kiss everywhere and got banned backstage. You know what I mean? Like, but the fact that all of these like weird idiosyncratic little like things you just read in interviews with bands that just made bands seem more interesting, or just made it feel like there's this richer tapestry of the music scene, of what that creative scene is like, and it's cool to like all this different music and I don't, you know what I mean? There's that sense. I don't know if I was just obsessed reading interviews. I mean, because again, this was like magazine days, but you just get a feeling like, oh, there's cool, the underground thing isn't so homogenized. It's like Sonic Youth's favorite band isn't a band that sounds exactly like Sonic Youth. It's, it seemed like everybody had a point to have this like wide interest in arts and culture and visual art and everything else in filmmaking. It just sort of seemed like that was what was cool. You weren't supposed to just have, if you were in a punk band, everything was punk all the time, 24/7. It's like, well, no, I like John Waters movies. I like this. I like, or something that is like, oh, that's subversive in a different way. And it sort of paints that picture.
And the point might be also to find the weirdest, craziest band that no one's ever heard of from another place just for the interview. Two, just to like be like, these questions suck. I'm gonna give you like some like guy who plays this like some drum / guitar music from Uganda that I know no one's ever heard of, just to say it, or just to be like artist. Like, this is funny. Like, it's goofy and it's weird, and this is part of it. Like, part of it is like, this could be my favorite band, but I could be fucking with you at the same time, and no one will ever know.
Right. Yeah.
Like, which is the greatest part about, like, even with this, like, this documentary where people are like, I mean, this is what happened when I met him. This is what I've heard. I don't know how much is true. I don't even know if he was really a cop, but I'm assuming he was, maybe, but no one ever saw him. He also was out all night. So I don't know how he was a cop if he was also at every party and traveling all the time. Cause this cop's a pretty strenuous, like, job that has a very strict schedule and drug tests and like, all sorts of things. So who knows?
Yeah. I just, it just makes it interesting. It's just a more interesting world not knowing all the answers, I guess. You know what I mean? I think we live in this false sense of, we'll just look up their Instagram, see what they're doing. You know what I mean? Or you could you sort of have like a handle on everyone, or even like the reverse of that same coin of like, oh, well, they're so mysterious. Like, they don't put anything on their Instagram, or it's only cryptic, or it's all conspiracy. You're like, that's just as boring as knowing everything as knowing nothing. Cause you're just like, oh, okay. But but riding that fine line, of like, okay, this sort of seems to be a person of interest. But
creating, like, you're kind of creating your own. I mean, how many people did that? I mean, I feel like that's Los Angeles, that's New York. That's like, you go to these spots and you're like, well, guess what? I don't have to tell anybody about my past.
Right.
My past starts when I moved to LA.
Right. Yeah.
And that's it. And like, none of us know. I mean, you've talked about it so many times about this podcast where you're like, yeah, I've got all these people that I've met, and interviewed or not interviewed, talked
I've
to
known
and
for
played
years,
shows
but I don't
with.
really
and
know
all
anything
this.
about them.
Yeah, I don't know if they have brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
I don't know where they grew up.
Where they went to
I don't
college.
know what
They have a
happened
degree.
before the day that I
What
met
does their
them.
driver's
Like,
license
there's no
say? Yeah.
totally. Yeah. So I think that is I think that doesn't happen as much anymore. Like, I think it seems like it's harder to reinvent yourself now, or even just invent yourself now, because there's a digital trail somewhere probably. And then that's what, I mean, if you want to get into the conspiracy theory stuff, it's like, this is what, like, when something happens and everyone goes, oh my God, what did they say on Twitter? What did this person do here? What did this person? And then it's always the weirdest when something comes up and people go, there's nothing.
Oh, right.
This person has
There's no trail.
digital footprint. And then you're like,
it must be erased for a reason.
that's even crazier. Yeah. That's even worse. They're not on the computer. Why weren't they on the computer?
Yeah. What are they
like,
hiding?
why don't they have why don't we know everything about them? What are they, and it does become this well, I need to know something. We all need to know something. Don't be too mysterious.
Something, right? No, it's so true. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Just give me something that I just don't know if
the account popped
real
up at this time, and they've only been, they posted 3 photos that show this, and this, and you're like, okay, well, it doesn't seem like a whole record.
Definitely the CIA.
Yeah. Did we get into the whole thing where with Billy Idol? And did they talk about that with in the interview? Okay, I don't know. I'm mixing it up from
with
the film.
Generation
X.
Yeah,
that he basically created Billy. But again, I think there's something to be said. Obviously, he goes above and beyond and sort of takes the cake in terms of this music fan as culture as his own. But pre-influencer to the nth degree. But I remember, and still even to this day, just you play shows and there's always people that are just part of the scene, and they're not in any band, but they're there.
Yeah.
And they're important. And it's like, oh, if they're there, then that must be cool. I mean, I think of like Black Chris as sort of my generation, or the generation right younger than me, was just he never played in the band, but he was like the 5th member or the 6th member of Mika Miko for years, and was just always there, and was always at a bar, always doing something. And when you would see him, it was always just good to see him and good to check in and talk and hear what's going on. But it was a professional fan, I think in so many ways. It was just like, yep, he's just here. Like, okay.
And probably knew that you were at the right place. You were like, oh, well, if he's here, then
this is cool.
I made the right decision tonight. Yeah. I feel like before that, I always felt that way about Callie.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's,
and
again,
especially those.
Yeah. Talk about working for the CIA
by design or
having some kind of mysterious background.
Well, however any of those things happened, where you're like, where it's like someone that you would know, and then you'd go, wait, what happened? Wait, who? Like, wait, how are you at every single spot? Oh, okay. And then you'd put out this record. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not a hustler. I don't, so all of that to me, if I try something a couple times and it doesn't
you're easily
work,
impressed.
I'm
you're like, how do these people know everything that's cool all the time and have the coolest hats?
Totally. I am so impressed by the hustle. Yeah. I'm so impressed by anybody who has even I'm going to use the word modicum. I think that's a word, modicum of hustle is, to me, is because I've hustled a couple things here and there, but I'm like, this is exhausting.
It's a full-time job.
I cannot I need a little bit of, I need things to be set out just a little bit. I need to know what's coming. I can't just completely fly off the, all the people that all of a sudden had no job or a slight job. And then you're like, oh, they must have rich parents. And you're like, no, they don't. But how are they always flying somewhere or going somewhere? And those people that knew how to try to get, they knew how to get the couple $100 that they needed to go somewhere. Yeah. And I'm like, how are you in Mexico? You're in Mexico for the week.
Working for the promoter?
I had some friends. Yeah. Or not even that. It would just be well, I've got some friends that had a place. Oh, yeah. And I was like, you should have me DJ the weekend. Or whatever. It would be one of those things you know what? We didn't think of having someone bring records for the week. Okay. Yeah. We got a spot. You can sleep on the couch. Chill. Chill. I'll bring my surfboard or whatever. Those people that were constantly off, and I felt like I want to go to New York, and I'm like, that seems so expensive and time consuming.
Gotta get
And
a hotel. Like,
and if I spend that $700, then that just means I have $700 less dollars. And what if I don't make more money next month? And I can't go to New York. You guys, this is not. I hit all of the 10 bad things that could happen before like the one fun thing every time.
yeah.
And so for anybody that has that hustle, especially for years, and I think I heard it from you at the end of that interview too, where you're like, he just seemed like he like really took life by the horns and did it. But then he was like, well, yeah, but he died when he was 52. So like extremely alcoholic, and it's like you got to take the good with the bad too.
It all, yeah. The things in balance, things in moderation are not always what happens. Yeah. But I mean, it's that thing too, especially being young. You know what I mean? I think if you're young and dumb enough, and you don't know all the bad stuff that could happen, then there's nothing keeping you from it. You know what I mean? And you get a couple lucky breaks, and you're off on a whole new path. You never know. You know, I feel like yeah, that was definitely Dean and I's story. You know, with the band stuff, is we took advantage of every opportunity we could, and had a lot of negative experiences, had a lot of, you know, doors slammed in our face, or things we could never, you know, it wasn't like stuff was handed to us, but we just, if we had an inch, we made that inch last, you know, rode it like it was a mile long. Okay, all right, on to the next one, and just sleeping on floors and all that kind of stuff. I mean, was it glamorous, you know, or those early days? You're like, no, not at all. But was it fun? Yeah, absolutely. Then and I think if you do it with a buddy, you know, if you have a friend, if you have a friend group or a group of people, a band, or you know, some kind of affiliation with people, then you can kind of, on your own, I could see it just wears you out. You're just like, what am I doing this for? But to look over and see all your friends crashed out on the floor somewhere, you're like, all right, we're all in this together, and everyone wakes up and it feels like shit, and you're like, good, okay. Then you have some, you know, it's like, this is where we're supposed to, let's go get food. Somebody's got an idea. You don't get stuck in your own like eddy current, or your own like, you know, corner of like, what the fuck am I doing? Or self-doubt. Someone's like, come on, we're going over here. Like, okay, I don't even have to think of what I'm doing. I'm just going over.
There's not
I have
even
to go over there
time.
now. Now I'm over there. Okay.
When I feel like, you feel like that this was, because I'm sure you had this. I didn't go on tour often, but the couple times that I was gone for, I mean, going on tour with another band, or just like a project that I would be gone for like 10 days or something, and you come back and you feel like I think I was in a different world.
Oh yeah.
Like there was like post-tour depression or whatever.
Oh, it's real.
Where you get home and you're just sitting there going, wait, I had stuff to do, even though it was crazy and like no one's really getting paid is what they should. And whatever, but like, and then you get home and you go, you have to like, I don't know, it takes like a week at minimum just to get out of your head,
or to get back into the groove, or the rhythm of being home, or
even if you were just coming home by like before relationships and kids and all that stuff,
different world.
It's just coming home and going like, I guess I'll just call some people, and everyone still had the same lives, and you're like, I have 150 stories from last week.
Minutes. Yeah.
last week, and everyone's like, I don't know. I went to work and you didn't miss much. And you just go,
okay.
Right. Okay.
I fell asleep on the beach. There was a crab in my underwear. We missed our flight.
Yeah.
I ate a baguette I found in the trash. I threw up purple wine. It's the best wine I ever had, but I threw wine everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. We met this guy. We got in the van and like,
these kids were holding on to the side of the van, and someone threw a bottle. It's all crazy, crazy. Yeah. It's just, I think that's that feeling too. Like I would wake up coming back from tours and just go to a coffee shop and just sit there. Like I'd have to like, your body's still in the rhythm of going places and doing things like, okay, I got to get coffee. I got to go here. I got to just drive around. Like I got so weirdly like tour zoned. Like I would drive by a 7-Eleven or like an AM/PM or a gas station and get hungry. I'm just like in the middle of the day. Like I didn't really want to eat a real lunch. I would just go, I'm just going to get like a soda and a bag of pretzels or something. I just needed that feel, you know. It's like, that's just what I eat now, and then I'll eat something after sound check, so probably around like 5 or 6 and go eat a real meal. But then until then I didn't really need to eat. I just needed a cup of coffee in the morning and some soda, maybe a pickle or something, some weird truck stop food.
Oh my
And
God.
then
It's so funny.
and then you just have to like go find people like, hey, you want to go get coffee? Are you doing anything? Okay, let's just go. You just go meet up with other band people or something. Just like sit there like, all right, I'm home for
It's
3
so funny.
days and then I'm leaving again. Like, oh yeah, I gotta go next Friday. Okay, yeah,
Right.
all right. And you just kind of sit around like, okay.
And it's so exciting.
It is.
They get
It's
so
great.
fun.
And but that's the thing. You're a kid, but everyone treats you like you know what you're doing or you're supposed to be there. You know, like, oh, okay, right this way.
Yeah.
People pick you up from the airport. They take you places, and you're just like, but it kind of gets back to that thing of like that aloofness or just sort of like goofing around with your friends sort of feeling, even if you know everyone thinks you're a professional musician, but at the end of the day, you're just goofing off and like you wrote these songs.
As long as you're making someone money, everybody's nice with
everyone's
nice
very
to you.
happy to see you.
Everyone's like, "Oh my God, yeah, these guys are crazy."
You're the person.
They broke all our mics last time, and they did this, and this. But like,
we're sitting on $50,000 worth of tickets. We already sold out for the venue for tonight. So go ahead and get them another bottle of wine, whatever they want.
Yeah, do whatever. Make sure they come back next time too.
The tickets already been sold, so we need this to happen. Whatever they need.
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird life because then it also gives those people like it. You see why? I mean, you instantly see why drug and alcohol addiction is a quick thing as a young person who has a metabolism and also like for 3/4 of the day everybody's telling you how great you are or like how like, hey, can't wait to see you, blah blah blah, and then you get somewhere and you do like an hour sound check and you go, well, we have 5 hours till we play. Not even that, like probably 7 hours till you play.
And there's all this free alcohol and that guy's got drugs over there. So let's just kill some time. And then you can't go to sleep after the show. So you just want to pass out. Do you remember Nate Harrington?
Oh yeah,
so
totally.
I feel like there's a sense to it. I guess what I was getting at, like Black Chris, you know, was kind of part of a scene.
Yeah.
But Nate Harrington was also part of that world for us, you know, in Los Angeles in the early.
Oh my God, totally.
And I think his thing was so funny because he was just go on tour. He was just a fan. I think again, just like was always at shows. You'd always see him, and he was younger than everybody or than everyone that we knew, you know, that were in our orbit. But he just was so excited and so much energy. And you know, he went on tour with us for like half of the US. I think we drove him from LA to New York. So he did that first half of the tour. And then he left from New York to go meet up with another band to go do their merch and this, you know, that kind of thing. But
I love it.
But it was funny because over the years, one of the luckier breaks was, I think Nate was in New York for CMJ or doing something. And he met Alex from Fat Cat Records. And I think Alex could kind of tell like, oh, this is cool. And he's like DJing, maybe Nate was DJing or something. Yeah. And Alex, they got to talking and I guess Alex asked him, well, who are the cool bands in LA? And he mentioned No Age. And this was early days for us, really early. And I think that was enough, you know, it was just, Nate's a cool guy, skinny. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He was a cool person doing cool people things. And I think that was, he like gave them our email or something, or gave, you know, Dean's contact, and that was enough for them to reach out to us. And then maybe he researched us a little bit, but we didn't have anything out at that point. Maybe we, you know, the first couple of vinyl records had come out, or the first EPs. And they reached out, and so that's how we got signed to Fat Cat, and that was part of the, you know, the big first step for No Age. But it was really Nate Harrington, and I remember he told us later, he either called or emailed. It's like, I met some guy from this label. They put out Animal Collective and Sigur Rós, and they don't know, they seemed cool. And I think I didn't even know really what Fat Cat was. You know, I think I looked at it, I was like, oh, okay, I remember this logo. This is cool. But yeah, that was a huge part of our story. But again, I think it's somebody like a Bill Bartell, you know, someone you're hanging out and like, okay, cool. You seem to be friends with all the cool bands. Like, who else is cool? And it's like, oh yeah, check out this band, you know, and it's at least worth checking out. It's of interest, you know?
Well, and it totally makes sense too, because every band that you're going to come in contact with, they're either going to be too shy to say anything, or they're going to be so overtly like, you got to listen to let me give you.
Right. Yeah. You can't trust it either way.
You have the hustler in the band. You can't trust it either way, but you do trust it from a guy who plays records and who has no interest. It's not their manager. It's not anything, but like someone who hangs out and is cool.
Totally.
And yeah, Nate is awesome. I love Nate.
Yeah.
But he was the same thing. Like I think we probably met Nate when he was 18, maybe.
Yeah.
It was high school, and he would come to definitely come to shows, but then he would come to our radio show.
Oh, funny.
Like he'd come to the radio show a lot. But you just see him every single show. If you knew Nate was there, it was like, okay, this is a cool show. It's good. Because I definitely would make some shoddy decisions on shows and bands, and I would get into all sorts of like, oh, I should go watch this band. And people were like, why are you at this is like a ska band?
Don't go there.
Like, I don't know.
That's
I feel
a really
like
offensive
I heard
thing to
one
do.
of their
Like,
songs once. And, yeah, and I'm like, I don't trust my taste sometimes. I now trust my taste only for myself. I don't tell anybody else.
Oh, it's so funny. Well, it was hard too, because again, you know, I don't know what it's like exactly now, but I feel like there's a handful of venues, and you just can kind of trust, like, oh, well, they always book something cool at this venue. You know?
Right.
Or that venue's kind of hit or miss, or it's venue's kind of lame, or they do touring acts, so you might see somebody there, but I don't know. I feel like there's a bunch of places in LA I'm just kind of like, bands playing there, even if it's a band I like, or if it's friends, I'm just like, you got to pay for parking, or it's going to be a thing.
Well, now it just be,
yeah.
But there's nothing else in it. Like, I think back then, like you were saying with Nate or with any of those other guys, are like Cafe Vita, when that was happening for a while, and there would be shows booked there, or the DJs playing. Like, you were going there not only like, oh, I want to see a band, but you're like, this is where all my friends are going to be, or this is where all the whatever's happening is happening, and I want to be a part of what's happening, because that's how you know that the next thing is happening, and that's how the stories happen, and that's how, or you know, whatever. As a photographer, I was like, this is how I meet people and potentially get work, or just stay up on who the bands are. I want to see all the new bands, and there's so much more to it. Like, the cloud of kind of interests and possibilities is much bigger. Whereas now, if I was going to a show, I'm like, well, I hope the band is good.
I hope there's chairs.
And then I hope there's chairs. And I hope that they play the 4 songs that I want to hear right at the beginning, so that I can duck out at any time.
Yeah, you might as well.
But
just play all the hits.
But it's weird. I don't know. I feel like I got so much of my like live music experiences. Like they're done. I got them all.
You checked all the
boxes? I really did.
You're not going to go to the Maroon 5 concert coming up?
Well, that's the last box I have to check. Although that's another thing. Like, I remember meeting those guys in someone's living room before they got big. They was like dating one of the guys was dating a friend, and you know, it's one of those weird. Of
course,
it's all of those things. Like there are like, I got lucky enough to be in a weird situation of Los Angeles culture for like 10 or 15 years, where you would show up in a weird room somewhere and have a story to tell from whoever was either in there, or you watch someone play music, or just had a conversation with someone, and you just all the time, for me, it just felt like, this is crazy. How did I end up here? This is nuts. I don't belong here, but I do belong. Like, but it's fun and it's fine, and it's like, these are stories, and this is great, and this is awesome. And I feel like even all of those, like, I got to shoot Coachella a couple times when we were doing MySpace, and got to watch Jay-Z like from the front of the stage, and I got to see the first time like on stage when Yeah Yeahs played Coachella to 150,000 people, like right next to them, like, in shooting photos, and I was like, yeah, I got it. I'm done. This is great. I don't like I lucked out so many times just personally for myself, and got to see the bands I wanted to see, and got to see the shows, and got to see certain people from like right at the front of the stage to be like, this is nuts. Good. I got to see you guys at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I got to see, like, there's just enough of those things where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think of shows I want to see ever.
Did I tell you about the time I didn't interview Jay-Z, but we set up the cameras. We were like the camera operators for the interview with Jay-Z.
No, you didn't. But those are
But
great.
those are
I
those
love
stories.
those
Yeah,
stories.
we were
Yeah.
shooting a bunch of footage. My friend Elisa and I, and we had a DP guy that we're we're trying to document everything that was going on crazy with No Age and the smell and everything. We were shooting for about 2 years, and Lance Bangs, who shoots a lot for Spike Jonze and for Jackass and
Hmm.
things, he was supposed to interview Jay-Z for this directors, they would do those like director series of things, where like the all about the music video directors. And I think Brett Ratner, the weird,
Okay.
not very normal, person,
Yeah.
was going to make his own director series. Like he wasn't invited by, there was like the Spike Jones,
Like
Michelle
about
Gondry one.
himself.
He was going to make one for himself. He's like, oh, I need a DVD of all my stuff. And so I think he had hired Lance, because Lance probably worked on the Spike one, to be the DP or to shoot footage and extras and interviews and stuff. But Lance couldn't get to LA, but he knew me and Elisa and our DP were shooting a bunch of interviews and stuff. We had a light kit and lavs, and knew how to do it. And so we had to go to the Beverly Hotel, or the hotel where the Pretty Woman takes place. Like it's on Wilshire. It's a big fancy hotel. And I think Jay-Z had just played the Hollywood Bowl or something, and he was staying there in Beverly Hills at the fanciest Pretty Woman restaurant. And so we show up, we like valet park our cars. We're like, oh shit, like, okay, this is real. And they had another guy who was gonna ask questions, so we just had to shoot like 2 cameras, like a close up and a wide. And it was, half hour, no more than an hour. So, so it wasn't worth, for whatever reason, that Lance can't do it. So he just farmed it out to us, which was great. So we get shown, we meet somebody, a handler at the lobby, and they take us up to the room that was like the security guard's room. And I just remember he had like the widest, like Air Force Ones. Like it's, like this was the security guard. And it was just like, oh wow, this is like really like right out of the box, right on his feet. Kind of thing. And we set up in this room, and then they brought Jay-Z in, and then like the interview person just interviewed him. We were just sitting behind the cameras. I was just like looking through the cameras, like, yeah, it looks good. Like, I don't really know.
It's in focus. I don't know how to
touch any of these buttons, but we just got to kind of sit behind the cameras the whole time while Jay-Z got interviewed, and it was surreal. It was wild. It was like, wow, that's Jay-Z. He's right there. That's crazy. Yeah. And then that's the real. He didn't want to talk to us at all. I think he said thanks to the interview guy or something, or they said bye and then just walked out. But we were just literally, what do you call it? Wallpaper. We didn't exist. I was like, cool. That was fun.
Yeah. Those are the best.
This is the wildest story. Like, all right, that just happened. And then we got back into our crappy cars and drove away. And I think had to format the cards and FedEx them up to Lance. It wasn't even like digital transfers, at that point. It was so long ago. Like, just send me the cards, then he paid us, I think. We got something for it, but it's wild. Well, so I have no idea if that ever came out. I don't know whatever happened to that.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah, exactly. We lived it. We lived it, man.
I got to sit and talk to Melissa Etheridge once about her pedal board.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Because I was shooting she was playing this like live show that was just go digital. Like it was a total like this. They had done so much production, and I'm just like, I don't know who the audience for this is, but there's no way you are spending so much more money than this
would you
you're
ever
make
possibly make
on whatever this is. And I was just shooting stills, like they were shooting this video, it was like a Union 8 camera setup
for a live show to sell on DVD or something.
Oh yeah. Okay. For these little live shows, and they were bringing in small audiences. So it was a live show, but it was in like Red Studios in Hollywood. So they had rented out this huge studio for like a month, and then they brought all these people in and did shows. And but she was awesome. Like I talked to her for a while and for a little bit, and she's just like normal, total hard ass, like knew exactly what she wanted and everything. But she had this massive pedal board, and she did a solo record where she like did the whole looping guitar thing, crazy. And like played her own solos and her own like 5 guitar parts and the bass part, and then sang over it and did the whole thing. And I was like, this is pretty awesome. You're amazing. And she just had this huge pedal board, and the one I feel like I always say the dumbest thing, but I'm like, man, I thought I was walking up here, I thought it was like a noise musician's pedal board, and she's like, what's a noise music? This is a noise music.
This is my next record. It's gonna be a Merzbow collaboration.
And I was like, well, I don't know. It's just like noisy and she's like, I don't know. That sounds weird to just call your music noise.
Well,
like,
Melissa
I guess you're right. You are Melissa Etheridge. That makes sense.
Well, yeah.
But like those weird, I'm like, you know, you got to sit and talk to Neil Young for like 5 minutes once. I don't know. This like those things of like, yeah, I don't know. I'm good. Yeah. I don't care about the photos. Weren't great always.
No, but you had the life
because experience. I got into stupid conversation. Not stupid. I stupidly, as a photographer, got so into the conversation. Sometimes I'd be like, well, we just lost our light. Let's see. What are we going to do now?
Okay.
Yeah. Happened multiple times. I'm like, well, I just like the conversation more than the photography part sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Therein lies the rub.
Right. But it's funny because, you know, these are those life experiences that you'll remember so much more than if you took the photo or not, or who knows, you know, maybe you got the great photo and that's
the photo's fine.
Yeah. But I just feel like
I still have photos.
It's awesome. At some point, you know, you think about it, and you're like when you're like, oh, you know, you might meet Harry Styles one day. Could you imagine? Yeah. But it happens with age. You're like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Maybe like, okay, that's fine if that would happen.
Oh my God. I loved meeting. Yeah.
You'd be excited.
I love meeting people.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I think I would.
Who's the guy from who was Robert Pattinson?
Oh, right. Yeah.
We've told this story before, right? And that was like one of my best, like, I loved that because he wasn't famous at all or anything. But then now I remember back and I'm like, yeah, that was cool. This is like literally the day before he got famous. I like that.
That's fun.
I could have been one of his last conversations that he had before the lights turned much brighter.
That'd be a good interview question. Do you remember the last conversation you had before you became famous?
Oh my God, this annoying photography wouldn't stop talking. It sucked. That was me, guys.
Well, I think that's even a hard thing to know, right? I'm sure there's, you know, you hear that the other side of that question, like, what was it like? When did you know that you were famous? When did you know you were the most popular person in the world? And it's usually something boring, like, well, I was in the middle of doing something else, so I didn't even know it happened. I guess it went one day. Everyone started asking for my picture, or they wanted an autograph, and then it hasn't stopped. You know, that kind of feeling of something. It's not my experience. I'm just saying that's what you hear from like Jim Carrey or something, you know.
Totally.
You go from no one knowing who you are, like, you know, sitting down in a restaurant to not being able to sit down in restaurants.
Yeah. Yeah.
It must be fun.
I don't know. I love it.
All right.
I loved it. I don't have the drive for it anymore.
No.
But I do. But at that point it was, I mean, I always kind of like thought that being in LA was like living in a cartoon. It just was like, it was so unreal so many times if you wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. It could also be very normal if you wanted it to be. But if you were willing to kind of put yourself in these situations where weird things happen, you just had to know when to stop. Like it was like, okay, that place that you guys want to go, that's my line.
Nothing good's gonna happen.
I'm going to the other side of the street over there, but I'm fine right here. Right here.
That's where you also have to just check yourself too. Like, how much do I actually care about all this? Like, how far am I willing to go? Like, if it's right there around the corner, all right, I'll go to the party. That's fun. Let's go see what it is. But I got to go all the way over there, and I got to get a security clearance or something, you know, and then I'm not even getting paid.
Do I have to drive to Vegas, or am I just sitting in the back of the car on the way to Vegas at 3 a.m? Okay, I'll sit in the back of the car. Sure.
But don't make me the driver.
3 days later.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody gets a chance to see The Secret Lives of Bill Bartell when it comes out. You can go to Dave's website. What was it? I was plugging it on the show. So We Got Power Films.
Secret Life. Oh, right.
Yeah, right. Is that what's called? We Got.
Yeah, he has some cool stuff on there too.
Yeah, he's done tons of great music videos, films. Yeah, you go to wegotpowerfilms.com And yeah, what do you got? Reality 86. That's the tour. One of the last days of a Black Flag tour. That's wild. I feel like so much of this stuff too is like, gets taken down or is only up for a while. But a huge part of music in Southern California. The Dave Markey experience. I feel like he's got a million stories. I'm sure there's they're never ending.
Well, and I do love even him doing this documentary, and then you look at his other documentaries, and you're like, well, you're kind of that guy too.
Totally.
Right? That I mean, I feel like Lance Bangs is kind of that kind of person too, where you're like, someone who found a niche within a bigger niche. Like they found like they just found their lane in there, and we're like, oh, I can actually see how documenting these scenes work. I think that's why I could have been smarter with photo, because I didn't think of it that way. I was like, well, I'm just here for fun and taking fun photos or whatever. And the people that really were like, no, we're documenting a scene, like we're documenting history for a reason, because some of these things are going to be more important than others later on. And people are going to want to see photographs of that. And it's like an important thing. It's an important thing to be able to look back 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And not only at fashion, but of like, oh my God, look, those two bands played together. Like that's important to somebody, like that will be important to somebody at some day, or just those funny photos or whatever. And being more of like thinking of it more as like an archivist of a time. And, even when Lila's getting into photography here and there, but I'm just like, shoot your friends.
Shoot your friends.
Just make sure. Yeah,
Aaron Farley says, shoot your friends.
Photograph. Yeah. My new T-shirt's coming out. It's going to be really popular. No, but I'm like, photograph your friends.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't think that it's going to be important now, and it might never be. Oh. You might just every once in a while you'll go through it. But the photos that I go through now that I save, or I'll take a picture of, like find some prints, I'll take a picture and email them to people to be like, oh, right. I always thought, like, even when we were in Portland, I'd shoot photos and like, our fashion is just like, like, it's not like the 70s. It's not like the 80s. Like everything was so crazy. It was kind of boring or whatever. But then you look back now and you're like, oh my God, it's Portland in 1998. It's so Portland in 1998, right? With like the trucker hats and the baggy jeans dragging on the
full of
on our
rainwater soaked up to the
totally
calf. Yeah.
But also just, whatever, how young we were, and then going like, oh my God, I forgot about that guy who was at every show and ended up being in some band, and all of those things, like that archiving of a scene or a time is like so important, especially now. It's like, because people think like, well, it's phones, and I'm like, yeah, but no one's gonna, like, people pop things up, but the photos are shitty. It's like, it's not great. It's different to have someone who's an actual photographer and is trying to impress other photographers with their work, makes the photos better. It's like,
yeah,
it's like musicians, like trying to, like, you're making music, and you also want the other bands in your scene or around you, or the bands you look up to go like, oh man, this record is amazing, because it pushes you to make better work. And I think that to see these films, or these people that like their whole life goes into documenting like really niche parts of scenes that end up like many times they end up branching off into other things. Like Lance is a perfect example of that, but like going into the Jackass world and then staying like,
that's crazy.
REM,
Yeah.
whatever, like all
God,
those worlds that like kind of have little branches, but he might be the branch that branches them all together.
Right.
But I think it's so cool to see those people that just that take their whole life to be like, nope, I'm documenting these things that I think that are important.
This is what matters to me. This is
even if it ends up only being important to like 3,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. Yeah.
No, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
But I wanted
yeah.
to say one last thing. I did finish Freaks.
Oh my God.
I watched,
Gabba Gabba Hey. Gibble Gobble. One of us.
Wow.
One of us. What did you think?
Oh my God.
This wraps up.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was weird.
Films.
The beginning, I was like, how is this a horror film? Because it was just kind of like people talking, and
it's very of its time, right?
Like you could see at that time, because like you're not going to have people with physical disabilities on film ever, let alone a whole, like where
they're the stars of the film, which is really empowering in a way that's
they're great.
It's been reinterpreted as like
so much of the acting is so good.
Yeah.
Like from
the real people,
from so many people. And it, but then I was like, the story, I kind of had forgotten that at the very beginning they were like, let us tell you the story about how she became this way. And so I was like, why are they just showing the woman the whole time? I was like, this is kind of, I feel like the story could go somewhere else. And then when everything starts getting more and more intense, and then at the end when everybody's like looking out from underneath the wagons, and like, I feel conflicted. I feel like it's conflicted. I'm like, this doesn't seem that scary, but if you're in a time when like anyone with physical disabilities either is shipped off to a hospital or they join the circus, and there's like the only times that you would ever see someone with any kind of deformities or whatever.
Yeah. But you look at the people too, and you're like, from our eyes, we just see people. We're just like, what are these, like, why are these people being displayed? That's just a guy. That's just, you know what I mean? That's not really a thing. You go, okay, well, yeah, he's got a thing, but it's not a thing, you know, but he's not.
Yeah.
What is it? It feels so, it just doesn't fit your brain.
Conflicted. Yeah.
But like you say, shoot your friends, you know what I mean? Shoot the world that's around you. Cause what's commonplace to you today might be transgressive, or might be, you know, a statement, especially of these context days, or purpose to really, like, you know, those social contexts change, you know, over time, can change radically. And sometimes even if you're on the wrong side of it, having that document can be of so much value to generations that come after, just to understand what was the context for that generation that came before. Even even under the guise of a horror film, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, that's why it was made, but it can tell you so much more about the time.
Yeah. Well, and I think that and I didn't look into any of I'm sure that there's 1,000 YouTube videos of people breaking down every minute of that film and talking about the directors and everything else. Even when Lila looked it up, he did
Frankenstein, and he has his own kind of story. Todd Browning's an interesting person. No, not Frankenstein. He did Dracula. James Whale did Frankenstein. But anyway, yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't look into any of that. But then, like when Lila was looking it up.
Oh, did she watch it with you too?
Yeah, what did she think? But she watched. She thought it was good. She was like, the whole end was like, oh my God. She's like, this lady is so horrible. She's so horrible. Like, I can't stand it. She's like making fun of him and like, blah, blah, yeah. And then when the woman who's in love with the man who's like the little guy who gets like made fun of and thinks he's in love with the woman, like the main character, and then she comes in at the end. It was just like she was like the sweetest actor, right? Like the way that she acted and like her character and everything was just like so sweet the whole time. Even when she came in to like give the woman a piece of her mind of like, you stay away from my boyfriend, I love him so much, and you're just trying to make fun of him, and you don't know how, like, the fact that he comes from a rich family and all that, like that whole speech, I'm like getting tears a little bit, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. She's so good.
Yeah. They're real people, real actors, real talent. Yeah. I mean, they've also been performers for probably most of their lives too, in whatever exploitive, fucked up way that is. I mean, I feel like, horror is probably not the right genre for it, but I feel like if you're gonna, use the umbrella of horror to explore
Yeah.
cinema, I think there's a lot to be gained from. I remember when I watched it, it was really one of those kind of things too. I was like, this is punk. This is fucked up. This is photography though. This is all this stuff. This is like journalism and some, or not journalism, but a slice of something, it's like a peek behind the curtain, and for it to be done as tastefully as it was, or as inclusive or something
humanizing.
Yeah.
I think what it probably was at that time
agency
would be
in a way that they wouldn't otherwise have had at that time by being the stars of this film.
There definitely was no moment where any of the characters, where you felt like the director was taking a shot at any of the characters, right. like was making fun of anybody, or like, oh my God, look at how funny right. this is. Like even though like that first scene where they're all out in the woods and the two guys come up on them, and the woman is like, they're just out here playing, I'm sorry. Like, and the two guys just start like, this is gross, this is horrible, whatever. And she kind of talks them down and is like explaining
like to the audience, like explains to the audience, right?
Totally. Yeah. And it was explaining because you see the guy with no arms and no legs, and he's like
dancing and
dancing and like shuffling around on the ground, and instantly you could see how that would be the first scene where the audience would kind of start laughing or something, like, oh my God, this is so fun. Oh, look at how funny this is. And then it instantly gets serious of like, and she is basically explaining to the audience, like, this isn't how this is going to work. Like, these are people, they're real people. And for the rest of this movie, they're going to be really real people going through real things. Yeah, it was great.
Oh, good, awesome. Good. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it's one of those ones I recommend from time to time to friends. I think I showed it to Shannon early on, and it's, I don't know, I feel like it's an important piece of cinema in ways that isn't always like other movies. It's not like, but it sits in this space where I just feel like, especially for older films, and I think, for a young person, I didn't know you were going to show it to Lila, but for her too, it's like black and white, but there's people. It is, as much as they're different. I think that can be some, with showing films or even just older movies, like, this is from the 80s. This is so old. It's like, hold on, let's go back beyond the 50s. Go pre
like the 30s.
Yeah. But it's one of those ones I think that's really stands the test of time in different ways. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. There's lots. I don't know. For the general cinema course, I would include it as Halloween or somewhere in there. It's great.
Well, it took me a while too. I think for the first 20 minutes, the first time, because I watched part of it and then I had to go back and rewatch some and then finish it. And for the first part, I was like, I don't know where this is going. And it was just a little slow and weird. And I'm like, like the scene just cuts off and then the next scene starts.
You can appreciate how cinema works too. You're like, oh, they totally don't quite have that down. Yeah, that's not quite.
Yeah, they didn't have those, like, how do we move
dissolves
from here to here? Totally.
And it's early talking stuff too. I mean, talking had been around for a while, but still, like, you don't have the crane shots or the drone shots where you can, elegantly glide through. Like, there's huge hulking cameras with loud film in it, and an early microphone, magnetic tape technology to capture all this, and lighting, and
Yeah. Well, and it's just one camera. It's like, so if they're talking, it's just squared off and you have the two people talking, and it's not like, okay, now let's get to the close shot, let's go to the wide shot. Like, it's like, nope, here's the talking part. We're both going to be talking in the scene, and then we're gonna move the camera to the next scene. But
it's cool. It's interesting.
So it took me a second, and then once I got back into it and kind of realized like where it was going, then I was like, oh, wait, okay, got it. This is like the love story, but it's also like, once the money got brought in, like, oh, now they're trying to kill him. And then there's like the big scene at the dinner table. Like, I don't know. I feel like once the dinner table scene happened, then I went back like 10 minutes and rewatched and went, oh, okay. I'm in
What's going
now.
on?
I got
That's
it.
cool.
I see what's happening.
And then that the Ramones took it. The Gabba Gabba Hey, with Pinhead.
Yeah.
They would have the Pinhead character,
Mhm.
and there was sort of, if nothing else, as a Ramones fan, it's good to
Yeah.
see. You've seen Freaks. It's part of the Ramones army. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good. Well,
Cool.
yeah. I don't have any films in mind for Thanksgiving. I don't have any good Thanksgiving movies.
The Peanuts Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
maybe
not a lot of
maybe
Thanksgiving
we'll
movies.
circle back around for we'll find
Uncle Buck, was that a Thanksgiving movie?
I don't know. He's got a shovel. It's a pancake shovel movie. I don't know what happened.
That's true.
Yeah. We'll do some more research. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
We're coming into the
figure it out.
holidays. Maybe some holiday horror movies. There's some good ones. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Have you seen any of these? No, they're not good.
No, I haven't seen anything.
It's harder. They just did a David Harbour Bad Santa. What was it called? Not Silent Night, Deadly Night. I don't know what it was. But he plays Santa Claus, like the real Santa Claus that just murders everybody. He's like an action hero.
Oh wow,
it's pretty entertaining.
Is it good? Well, entertaining and good could be different from each other, I guess.